today's specialty, we need several different ingredients. So basically we have here our condensed milk, cream cheese, flour, we have eggs, we have fresh lemons, we have lemon juice, sugar. There will be more ingredients, but because there's several steps to make, we will just do step by step with each ingredient. So it's much easier than just filling up the table with all the ingredients. And then for the first layer, we will need sugar, lemon juice, a teaspoon of water, and the form you will put in all of the cake. Now the first place or the first thing we will start is on the stove. So the caramel, when it gets out, it will cool down very, very quick. So I will actually put some hot water into the form a little bit so it warms up the bottom of the form. So once the caramel is done, I can actually move it smoothly through the surface. It's hardened very quick. Now today we make a wet caramel. Yes, this means we will use water. You can of course do it without water, but because my caramel sauce is a little bit special, I will use lemon juice in it to give it a flavor as we're doing the lemon cheesecake baked. So we will start to heat up the sugar. So we're putting the sugar in. I have put in the sugar, I have put in the water and the lemon juice on a very low flame. So we will wait till the sugar dissolves and until the sugar gets a light color. Because there's water in it and a lot of liquid, it's not so hard. If you make a dry caramel, it's very tough for the first timers. I recommend always to use a tablespoon of water. It's just much easier for beginners. So you see the caramel after about between 10 and 12 minutes on very low flame. It starts like to get a little bit of color. We want a beautiful amber color. Now, when you saw me putting the hand in, it's not I put the hand in I just look at the temperature. If it's warm enough or if it's too cold, you just adjust the heat a little bit. So please don't touch inside because the sugar is very, very hot. Yes, it is a product that you should not have children make. They can help you with other parts of the cooking, but not with the sugar part, not with the caramel part. Now we don't use any wooden spoon or anything. We just swirl it around so the sugar gets the same color everywhere. Now I cooking on gas. My pan always makes this bubbles. When I cook on electric stove, there will be no bubbles. There's less air in. And it's also because of the lemon juice. It makes a little bit more bubbles. Now you see it starts to get color. Remember we had put hot water in the pan. So we will just take the hot water out. So it's not cold anymore. I will actually put a little bit more hot water in to keep it warm. So now you can see it starts to get a beautiful color. So keeping the pan warm just helps me to later put the caramel easier into the form. Now the color is nice and beautiful. I let it a little bit longer. For our next stage, we will need sugar, lemon peels, and 250 milliliters of milk. The sugar should be between 10 and 15 grams. Don't use too much because the sugar is in all parts, so it's much easier if you just spread the sugar around. I will put in the bottom later all details for the sugar. Put the milk in the pot and just let it heat a little bit so the sugar dissolves easier. So then put in approximately 10 grams of sugar and your lemon peels. And let it boil on a very low fire. Now that the milk warmed up, we will let it, and we take it off the fire just so it will stay on the side. So very important, don't let the milk burn, just warm it up. So the moment it starts well, so the lemon gets into the milk, in the milk flavor. So first we will start with putting the cream cheese in. You can take any cream cheese you really like. And we put the sugar in. So now that the cream cheese is turned, I will put in the 3 eggs and the condensed milk. Now, if you have a whisker, you can actually use the whisker for it. So our custard base is done. So let's make some space and bring the warm milk to the table. Now, very important is that you continue stirring to give the milk to get the milk on temperature. Yes? So now I leave the lemon bits inside. Other people filter it out. I think the moment they're very good cooked, you can actually eat them. Yeah. Now, why do we have to put it this way into the cream? Very simple. If you would put it in all together very quick and the eggs don't go in temperature, then you will have an omelette. So here we have the base. Give it just a tiny sec, a minute, till you can get the form to you. Here we have the form. Now, of course, you will not put the lemon bits inside the caramel. So we will take out the lemon bits. You can use a strainer, but with this 3-4 pieces of lemons that I have here, it's much easier for me because the forms are not both rounds. Just to take it out. If I forgot one or two, that's not a big deal for me personally because I eat the lemon peel. Other people don't, so lemon peel taken out, and then we just put this one in here. Just when you do that, please don't forget to leave some space because we are not done yet. Okay, so this is stage. Step 3, I started to put the egg into the bowl. Yes, I will whisker it now. Now, once you have done this, I already prepared a small bowl or a small form to put some hot water in it. Now, this is to heat the egg a little bit up. We don't want the egg too cold. The egg should have around 40 degrees Celsius. Now, if you do what I did, please be sure that the glass you're using is made for this kind of thing. So if the material is not strong enough, then it will just break. Yeah. So don't put the water too hot in. Just let it cool down. I use a hot water boiler. It's much easier than boil water extra. So once the temperature is a little bit higher, so I add a little bit of flour. So like I said, flour and baking powder mix is the best thing. Or if you have now a mix of baking powder and flour. If you put it in till the consistency is like a very creamy dough. So in the meanwhile, just see that's very creamy. Don't forget that you have to preheat the oven. Yes? Now the oven should be preheated by 160 degrees Celsius, 320 degrees Fahrenheit. And now we will put the ready dough into our custard cream. Now you will see it will start to float. This is what we want. We want the dough to get into the cream. So once this is done, just look that the dough is given to all ends. So, like always, I made a mess where I shouldn't do it. So let's clean this up. I already said the oven preheated by 160 degrees. Now we will take a form which is a little bit bigger than the baking form. We'll fill it approximately 1/4 with hot water. Yes. Now I will put something under the form so it doesn't really move so much, so I can move it better in the oven. So don't fill it up completely. Look that you don't get the water inside the dough. Yes. And once the oven is preheated, you actually can put this as it is into the in the form into the oven. So here's the cake. Now I will just cover it with aluminum foil, and then it goes on. So slowly the cake's getting color. Now I will just have slowly the cake is getting some color. First I will check how it's actually doing. It needs a little bit more. It doesn't come out perfectly dry yet. So it got a little bit of color. Let's see how it's doing. It's still not completely dry, so let's leave it a little bit longer. I will put some aluminum foil on top of it. Yep. So, and back in with the whole tray. Out of the oven. And this is how the result looks like. Now, the first time I put it in the oven, I had it 15 minutes in. Then I covered it with aluminum foil and had it baked another 20 minutes. First, to get the custard quite good baked, and secondary, now that the sponge is done. Now, how do you know if it's cooked? Very simple. You take a toothpick, just drive it through. When it comes back out clean, means everything is cooked. Now we will just leave it there and sit for a while just to cool down. Approximately it takes an hour or two to cool down, depending on the size and on what kind of form you're using. 2 hours of cooling is done. So now I just open up the sides. And last but not least, we will have to turn it. Now I will turn it on a quite wide space, just because I don't have a smaller one in the moment handy. So camera accident. And look how beautiful and juicy it comes out here. Now this is a cheesecake. There's only one thing to do now, and this is tasting it. Oh, and how beautiful the knife goes through. Here we have our cheesecake. And you see the beautiful thing is that now that all the caramel went down, also the sponge down, get very moist and very, very tasty. So here we go, our cheesecake. Yes, well done, very spongy, very creamy, and a beautiful custard on the top. So I hope you enjoy it.